Welcome to The Flock at FBC. This podcast is designed to highlight the incredible members and ministries of First Baptist Harrisburg. Our goal is to grow our church relationally and make known the many ways you can serve and get connected here at FBC. Whether you're a longtime member or just getting to know us, we're so glad you're here. Welcome to The Flock. This is our inaugural episode with Dr. Winkleman today. You can call him one of our deacons here. He might be one of the bravest deacons here because he was the only one that willingly said yes the first time we asked him. So we're glad to have you here today.
Hey, I'm thrilled to be here. I'm excited to be like the first guy on the podcast.
First guy, guinea
cool.
pig.
It's my first podcast.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever done a podcast.
Well, there may be many more after this, after people see this. We'll see.
Maybe a new career for me.
Well, one of the things we wanted to do here is provide an opportunity, like an entry level, for somebody who's maybe new here. Because many people who are watching this are going to know you. But if we get a new guest down the road that comes in, let's start with the basics. We have Matt Winkleman here. We introduced him. What do you do for a living, Matt?
I'm a family physician at primary care in Harrisburg here.
How long have you worked there?
I have been at primary care for 20 years now. August will be 20 years. I started in August of 2005.
Now, as some young men fresh out of college, and maybe one going into medical school soon, when did you first think about becoming a doctor? Like, what was that process like?
So not long after I realized I probably would never be a professional baseball player.
Okay.
So
what age did that dream fall off?
Yeah, it didn't take long to realize that was not going to happen for me. I was pretty young when I, kind of felt like, oh, medicine's a thing for me. I'd had some people that I had been around here in the community, Larry Jones in particular, that kind of like mentored me. So high school-ish, kind of thought, yeah, this would be a way to use my abilities, and serve people, and kind of like dovetail ministry things even with the job. So yeah, pretty early, I guess, to answer your question.
So I guess jumping right off of that, you kind of talked about like leveraging your career for different ministry opportunities. What are some things that maybe some small things that you do to leverage your career for?
Yeah, I mean, I think that medicine offers nonstop opportunities for that, right? People are often hurting, they're desperate, there's tons of uncertain moments, there's lots of fear. Often you're engaging patients when they're at their most vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are chances to point them to Christ in that. So, I mean, those aren't, it's not always easy, but I definitely have those moments. I think just in general, Jesus talks about going out and tells his disciples, go out and preach and heal. And so like the work of alleviating suffering with medicine, with the things that we have at our disposal, I think is a way to be carrying out the mission of Christ, and doing it in a way that like honors people's dignity, that respects people. So I think that's a way. I hope that in the way I treat the people I work with, in the way I engage with students and try to encourage them, that all of those things are ways to kind of leverage my role, my position for the gospel and for the glory of God.
So let's kind of talk about like a little bit, like you're a First Baptist guy now, but
Yep.
You didn't grow up going to church here.
Nope.
Let's talk about like your just kind of early church experiences.
Yeah. Like from the earliest, we went to the First United Methodist here in Harrisburg. My grandfather, John Shork, and my grandmother, Torchy, were like very involved with First United Methodist Church. And when I was really young, like early grade school, that was where we went. So that's my earliest church experience was at First United Methodist. My dad, so that was kind of my mom's background. My dad had grown up going to Dorisville. And so we started going there more as a family. Like when I was real little, my dad didn't usually go with us at Methodist Church consistently, but probably, I don't know, second, third grade, somewhere in there, we started going to Dorisville, all of us together. And I professed faith in Christ and kind of started the Jesus road, following Jesus, when I was in fifth grade at Dorisville, and have been following him since. Kind of continued to grow up there. I was really involved in the youth group at Dorisville. Stayed there all through, high school, and even when I was in college, and kind of would come home. That's where we went, and then medical school residency, lived away, and we were involved in a church in Springfield, and to a lesser degree at a church in Evansville. And then when we moved back in 2005, joined at Dorisville again, and really got involved there as well. Actually served as a deacon there. That's where I was ordained as a deacon. And then Chris, my brother Chris, who's the pastor here at First Baptist, he moved back to town from Mississippi and became the pastor here at First Baptist. And after maybe a year or so, maybe a year and a half, just kind of felt like, who knows how long this season lasts, this opportunity to be kind of in the same place, doing ministry together. And, pastors don't always stay in one place for very long. And so thought, who knows how much time there is for this. And so we decided let's move and kind of get involved here with them. So been here since. So that was maybe 2011, maybe.
Wow. So you were ordained as a deacon at Dorisville, and then you moved here. How long before you served as a deacon here at First Baptist?
I had to look back. I think it was in 22 when I started serving as a deacon here. So I was here for quite a while before I started serving as a deacon.
Yeah. So you're fairly new to the deacon body. Is that how you say that, the deacon body?
Yeah. I'd say, it's just been like 3 years or so.
What have your experiences been as a deacon? Like, how do you see serving as a deacon? What does that mean to you?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's about service, right? It's about serving the body. I mean, that's where even the biblical office of deacon began, with need for serving the body. And so I think that's the primary role of the deacons. And I think the deacons here at First Baptist do that well. We all have certain families that or individuals, members that we're kind of assigned to, that are sort of ours to help look after. And so, I'm always sort of encouraged by the other deacons and what I hear them doing, and sort of kind of pushed along to be more engaged. And I think we're always talking about ways to better reach out and care for the families that we're kind of responsible for. So yeah, it's about service and meeting the needs of the people here in the church.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to backtrack a little bit to you talked about your transition time between high school into college. I know you've told me at another time that there was maybe one summer that you served in like a youth intern role, or took over the youth ministry because there was a position there.
Oh yeah, like the whole year. Really, my freshman year of college.
Yeah.
So when I graduated high school, the guy who had been the youth minister at Dorisville, his name was Kurt Starner, left to take another role. I think he became like more of senior pastor somewhere. And so they were kind of in the process of looking for somebody and asked me if I would do that. And so freshman year of college, I was going to SIC. I was on the speech team, and I was the interim youth pastor there at Dorisville, which was interesting because I was, not much removed from the kids age-wise. I feel like at the time there was a it was heavy on the like middle school age crowd. And so there weren't a ton of folks who were like just a year or 2 years younger than me. There was a lot of middle school. In fact, I remember one of the first things we did, we had a lock-in, which I don't know that people really do much anymore. It doesn't seem to be kind of the thing. I mean, the D now is kind of a lock-in sort of vibe, but this was like everybody's here at the church.
Yeah, they do lock in some, but now it's just like a nightmare to go against. And kids have asked for it. I'm going to be honest, like I'm not too eager to do it.
Yeah.
Like my cousin came in from,
right.
They do a lock-in as an outreach.
Yeah.
And they're a little bit bigger of a church.
Yeah.
But they had 600 kids at a lock-in.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like this is your guy right here.
I did one, so I'm 18, maybe not even 18 yet. And we did this lock-in, and I think there were 100 or more kids show up, and most of them middle schoolers. And out there in that the old gym at Dorisville, with the carpet floor. So I remember that event. I remember a ice skating trip to Evansville, and I remember a trip taking them all to Springfield for the youth encounter, because that used to be a big thing. Like youth encounter was like the big event, happened like Christmas break, so just a few days after Christmas, and it was in Springfield, and so 2 or 3 days, hotel, it was a big, fortunately, like the senior pastor was Mark Holmschult, and he went along with, there were a bunch of parents that were super helpful, because I was still a kid, but it was great experience for me, just a time to grow and really get my experience with ministry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I just want one more hit on this youth ministry trip. You've told me a story before. What is like the craziest story that happened in that time?
I mean, there were a few. That trip to youth encounter was a little bit wild, because we didn't have a bus, or at least I didn't have the ability to drive the bus. So we took like multiple Suburbans and maybe a minivan or two, but we would have to like drive all of us together, sort of this carpool from the hotel to the convention center and then back to the hotel. And I think one night a group of them got lost and this is pre-cell phone, definitely pre-GPS. Some of them got lost on the way back. In fact, I've joked before, they were talking with one of the kids afterwards and asking him if he'd been saved, like really trying to explain the gospel to him and asking him if he'd been saved. And his response was, "Yeah, I got saved. I got saved from that van earlier tonight." Like he thought that was going to be the end for him. Yeah. They were lost somewhere in Springfield. So, that was a little bit challenging.
So going off that, my wife Sophie is teaching her littlest brother Asher in 7th grade right now. Do you have any good Chris stories from?
I don't. I really don't remember anything about like my interaction with Chris as him in the youth group,
like a student.
He would have been a freshman in high school, because we weren't in high school at the same time. So he finished 8th grade when I graduated from high school. He graduated from high school when I graduated from college. That kind of thing. So he would have been a freshman in high school my freshman year of college. Yeah, but I don't. It's sad. I don't really have lots of memories of him. We were not super close when we were kids that age. I feel like when probably like once I went away to college, he got to be like late in high school, junior, senior in high school. Definitely once he went to college, we got a lot closer after that.
Yeah, it's weird you don't remember him. He usually like tries to stand out, like really put himself out there.
He's a real standout. He's much more like Asher than like he gives Asher a hard time about, but he was a lot like that. Not with the he probably didn't have the degree of confidence that Asher has, but the like interest in things, the varied, like he would get into stuff and just be all in.
Mm-hmm.
juggling or riding a unicycle,
All the
or
clown things.
cycling, or like it was like these different interests, hobbies. He would really dive into them when he was a kid.
So speaking of like interests and hobbies, let's get a little more just like about to know you. What do you like to do for fun?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now probably hobbies and free time stuff is running. I've started doing that when I was in medical school, and really like once we moved back here, I really got into it, and that's been a good outlet for me. Just to stay healthy. It's really a good time for me with like other guys. So I've enjoyed that, and enjoyed kind of the discipline of training for things, and whether it's marathon, triathlon, distance races. So that's a hobby. I enjoy that. I really like to read. So all kinds of different books. Been listening to books more lately, so that's been fun. And then just kind of kids stuff. That keeps me pretty busy. I mean, there's not a ton of time for like lots of hobby stuff right now in my life, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So you grew up here, right?
Yep.
In Harrisburg. Did you always go to Harrisburg schools?
Yep. Independence. Went to Independence for kindergarten, first and second grade, and then my parents opened a jewelry business. And so since they weren't going to be home my mom wasn't going to be home in the afternoons to pick me up, because the bus would bring me from Independence to our house, but there wouldn't be anybody there. So I started going to East Side, and I would just walk from East Side to the jewelry store after school. And I would hang out there from, 3 to 5. That was my, like from third grade until pretty much until high school. Because I mean, at that time, 7th and 8th grade was at Malin. So I would just walk from Malin to the jewelry store. And usually both of us, Chris and I both, would be there hanging out until it was time to close up shop.
Now, what was there to do as a third grader in the jewelry store?
Not a lot. I ran some errands.
Yeah.
In fact, I've thought about that. There's like I would go to the post office. So they would send me to walk to the post office. I would walk to the Daily Register office, which was on Vine Street, like just north of the, or south, I guess, of the jewelry store, which was right across from where the movie theater, was. So I'd walk and take like, they would run ads in the paper or whatever, and I'd take them up there. Plater's Printing was also right on Vine Street, so I'd go there and run errands, pick up like receipt books and things that they would buy. I would walk to Jackson's drugstore sometimes. So Jackson's is right on the corner of like the same side as the movie theater, but that corner there's a law office there now. But it was an old-fashioned pharmacy drugstore with like the soda shop stuff. But like my dad would do the repair work at the jewelry store, and so sometimes he would need like certain chemicals and things that they would sell at the old school pharmacy. So they would send me to run those kind of errands. I would work on my homework, and
I just kind of wondered because growing up,
there's not much to do there, and it's not a big place.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was small.
Growing up, my mom and aunt had dream baskets.
Yeah.
And, as a 3rd through 5th grader, I was eating like 2 to 3 cookies a day.
Yeah.
I feel like a jewelry store isn't quite as fun. Like you didn't have any cookies.
No cookies, no snacks really.
What a bummer.
Jackson's, they were pretty good with the like cherry Cokes and stuff. Like, real syrup and.
All right, we don't want to take too much of your time here, but kind of two more like just fun things we wanted to get into. One of them just like kind of like a little bit of like a shout out, like this kind of, is there anybody in the church, maybe it's a ministry, maybe it's a person right now that you just think is doing a good job and you just kind of wanted to just highlight? Take as long as you need to answer that.
And I think there are all kinds of people at First Baptist that you could talk about. I am always inspired by Joe Jackson and his like the way he leverages his skills and his work, and like this picture of sort of like not retiring. Like he's maybe not working for a paycheck like he did, but he's not quit, right? John Piper tells that story about, like, walking on the beach and collecting shells and, arriving in heaven and like, Lord, look at my shell collection, right? Joe Jackson is not going to meet Jesus and say, look at my shells. So that's one. Bud Logeman is a guy that just always encourages me and makes me want to be more like him. His passion for the Lord, his just spirit of encouragement, the way he loves his wife, super encouraging to me. And on the same note, Don Porter, and the way I've watched him over several years love his wife through a hard season, is super encouraging, and makes me want to be more like that. So yeah, I mean, those are just some examples. I always, you worry when you start doing something like that about like who you're leaving out.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Because there's probably 50 other people.
Yeah.
But those are ones that just kind of come to mind right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I think you brought up something that maybe we should hit on while we're here, because when we were coming up with questions of what to ask you, I feel like we didn't think to ask about your wife.
Yeah.
And that's a very important part of your life.
Sure.
Right? So
yeah, I mean, my family's a huge thing for me. Yeah. So my wife, Laura, we met in the Illinois Baptist All-State Youth Choir.
Care to hit a few notes for us?
No. No. But yeah, so that was the summer between my junior and senior year of high school when I met her. And we dated ish during that senior year of high school. She would joke that I was dating her and she was dating other people during that senior year of high school. But then right at the end of our senior year, kind of became like, yeah, we're a couple. And she went to Illinois Wesleyan for college. I did a year at SIC and then went to U of I. So we dated all through that time. And then we got married right after we graduated, right before we started medical school. So we were both in medical school. So that was a neat season for us. Both of us kind of studying together and figuring that out. It was a fun time for us. Had our first son, Sam, who's good friends with you guys and about your age, during fourth year of medical school. So he was born in Springfield. And so Sam, and then Luke came along. Luke was born in Evansville when we lived there in residency. Sarah was born once we moved back here. So Sarah's the only girl. And then Noah, who came early. It was a really tough thing. He was 33 weeks, and scary moments for us. But he's done great. Spent like 10-ish days in the NICU, and but he's great. And then Bo, we adopted. All kinds of things that sort of led to that, but sort of felt this burden for doing that, and kind of expected we would end up with somebody that looked very different from us. Like, we were open to pretty much anything. Didn't really put any limitations on like what gender or ethnicity or anything like that. And get this call about this baby in Florida, and yeah, let's do it. He's been a joy, and yeah, so that's my family. Five kids. Laura is amazing. Takes care of everything, and keeps us going. Be lost without her for sure.
And I think you're about to become a grandpa soon.
About
right?
to become a grandpa, yeah. In fact, just this afternoon, Laura was telling me that Sam and his wife Liberty, so they've been married for 2 years. In June will be 2 years. Yeah, so identical twin boys that will be arriving, and they go back next week, and we'll schedule induction. So, like, it's really happening soon.
Yes. Are you excited for like grandpa life? Are you going to spoil these kids? Like,
I'm sure
what's
I
the
will.
plan?
I feel a little bit like I feel inadequate for it. I'm like, I don't feel like I'm ready. Maybe probably one of those things that, like, are you ever like ready? I feel like definitely feel like I'm not old enough to be a grandpa. I don't feel like I know enough to be a grandpa, but we'll do what we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you remember looking up to your grandpa? Was your grandpa around when you were growing up?
I didn't really have a lot of interaction with either of my grandfathers. They both passed away before I was really old enough to really appreciate them. Um, my dad's dad, we called him Pawpaw, Grandpa Winkleman, had been injured in a coal mine accident when he was young, and so he was pretty well. Like, my only memories of him, he was pretty well confined to the bed, and he passed away. I was really young, and then my what we called Gagi, my grandpa Shork, he passed away when I was like 10-ish. So I have memories of him, and but didn't get to know him as well as, or appreciate either of them, really, because they were both really neat guys. And it's always fun for me to hear people that knew them, to talk about them. I just wish I'd been able to, like, really appreciate it, because I didn't really know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've watched my dad. My dad has been a great grandfather. Like, just, it suits him, and he's done it really well. And so I hope I can do it as well. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, did you pick a grandpa name? Like, that's what
I really haven't, and there's been a lot of conversation about it around our house. I feel a little bit like it's kind of futile to pick a name, because they're going to call you what they call you. But I guess you can kind of push them to something. But yeah, we haven't settled on a name. But at the same time, I don't know what their names are. So
that's true.
Sam and Liberty have been pretty tight-lipped about the names, so we haven't heard names yet.
Maybe keep your cards close to the chest as well. Hey. I'm not revealing my grandpa name. Sorry about it.
That's right. You're not going to tell me. I'm not going to tell you.
All right. So last thing we have for you is a little bit of like a draft.
Oh, draft. Okay.
And we're definitely like catering to you in this thing, because this is way before, not way before, but before me and Nolan's time.
Oh.
I don't know. When were you born?
2000.
2000. So our draft is going to be, we're each going to pick 3 90s movies to go in our top 3. And once somebody else picks one, you can't pick it.
Okay.
We'll let you go first.
Okay.
Nolan will go second. I'll go third. And then we'll go back that way until we each get 3.
Oh, wow. 3 90s movies. I go first?
You go first. Sam, we're giving you the first pick overall.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to think about this a second. There's probably some movies that I've watched that like, maybe I'm a little bit embarrassed that I watched them and liked them, and in retrospect. I'm always amazed by, like, the things that I'll watch in movies now, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of swearing in that movie that I don't remember. All right, 90s movies. I'm going to go with, first out of the gate, Dead Poets Society.
All right, so now Nolan's up next.
Man, I don't watch movies, so like Jacob hid this for me too, and he told me it was coming.
Yeah,
I didn't think I was going to be involved though.
Oh no, you definitely just think of something.
Dude, I don't know the era.
You want me to give you one?
I think maybe this should be a duel.
I wonder, yeah. Also, I wonder, like, some of the ones I'm thinking of might be 80s, but
sure.
But anyway, go ahead.
I didn't research anything beforehand. Okay. My one, and it's not that great of a movie, but I just really like it a lot. Sandlot.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I don't know. You got any? We'll just go before your time. We'll let you cheat.
I couldn't tell you. Like, I'm going to like the Adam Sandler movies, but I'm pretty sure those were like 2000s era, right?
I think if you name any of those, they'll be 90s.
Really?
Which one? Billy
Madison's 90s?
Yeah, I would think so.
Really?
I would think
Okay.
90s.
So you're on the Billy Madison one?
And if only there were some easy way to look up and find out the date of a movie that was written, or when a movie was released.
If only my phone wasn't over there recording this right now.
Yeah, you guys' phones are both recording the podcast, so we'll fact check it. Maybe episode 2 can include like a little fact check.
Yeah,
fact checking on.
My plan was to like put the results out somewhere and then like do like a blind vote, like who had the best 3 movies out of the 3 of us. But
yeah,
it's okay if we don't get to it.
Is it back to me now?
Go ahead. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I think probably continuing the baseball thing. Maybe Bull Durham. Bull Durham's a baseball classic.
Yeah, that's good. What do you got? Anything?
It's gonna kill me that I can't think of the name of this movie. What's the Chris Farley movie? Where is
Tommy Boy?
Tommy Boy. It's got to be 90s, right?
That's
probably another 90s. One that's not. You know, I saw it on TV afterwards. It was definitely
TV version.
It was TV version.
Yeah, if any kids were listening,
I don't know what's going on in that
watch
movie
the TV
now.
version.
I don't even recall it that well, but
yeah,
I remember it being funny at the time.
Yeah, yep.
I think my second pick, and we just talked about this the other day, and I didn't say it was that good of a movie, but it's just a classic, like Good Will Hunting.
Oh.
Good movie, but
yep, it's a classic.
A little dry sometimes, but it's a good movie.
Yeah. How you like them apples? Now back to me.
Last one.
This is kind of tough.
In my defense, I offered to tell you.
You know, I think I'm going to go with Godfather Part 3.
Part 3,
which is like 90s, right?
Yeah,
because the other ones were much before that.
Yeah,
but Godfather Part 3 is pretty good.
Yeah, that's worth it too. Okay,
that's a good pick. I'm gonna hope Napoleon Dynamite's in the 90s. That could also be a 2000s.
I think it might be 2000s.
Yeah, but
probably 2000s.
Yeah, not sure.
I'll go ahead and cement it on there. Subtract a point later if it's wrong.
Yeah,
I'll go with my last one. Happy Gilmore. That'll be mine.
Yeah,
I like
a good one.
I think it's a good movie. A lot of feel-good movies besides Good Will Hunting in mine. That one's not really a feel-good, but
Sandlot's a classic.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I don't remember watching Sandlot like when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching it like later.
VCR later.
I'm curious when Sandlot came out.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like it was a 90s. Yeah.
So you're throwing a flag on my first pick?
I'm gonna challenge.
Okay.
I'm gonna challenge Sandlot. Okay. I'm not sure it was 90s.
We'll go to the booth after this and we'll get a quick review.
What's that guy's name that always does them on the basketball?
We'll go see Gene Steratore.
Gene Steratore. There
Dean Blandino, one of those guys will come. We need them in the booth back there. Dean, come on. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. This was a lot of fun. We enjoyed having you.
A good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do it again.
Yeah, I think that's all we got for today.
All right. Well, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for watching The Flock. Stay tuned next week for a new episode.